Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? Um, haven't really been making videos as often recently. Getting into the holiday season, things are getting really busy. But finally have some time here to do some stuff like this. And I don't think I've made a video like this before, even amongst all my health videos. So this is going to just talk about produce. I'm just talking about produce today, and some of the um, grocery shopping, of course, as well. But focusing on produce, we're told by, if we're following a lot of things happening in the world of nutrition and science, we know that we need to be eating produce. The only people that don't believe that are basically carnivores, and they're weird. So, basically, the produce is a huge priority. It should be a huge priority for all of us. So we're going to talk about at least my preferences for produce, and maybe how that might translate into your preferences for produce. So let's get into this here a little bit, and I'm going to start with the best stuff, in my opinion, some of the best stuff, and go to the stuff that I think is, if you know how to cook with it, if you know what you're doing, then awesome. But yeah, so I just, bok choy is such a amazing vegetable. I think there's Napa cabbage or Chinese cabbage or all the related stuff. It's so good for you, and it actually, I like the taste. And with a little bit of oil, olive oil, it just comes alive. I could have bok choy like every single day. Seriously. So props to Chinese there. And a lot of East Asian guys. And I should mention, by the way, I haven't included sauerkraut or kimchi, but that's really going to be really high. So the fermented vegetables, it's really high. I just haven't put them there because it's, but just keep that in mind. So celery is really cheap, pretty much most of the time. Yeah, even the organic stuff, it's not too expensive. It's healthy, it's reliable, you can always find it. It feels great to eat it. It doesn't really add any calories to your caloric load, so you can eat it without. Yeah. Anyway, definitely some good things about that, I guess. Cilantro is amazing overall, just amazing. Herb and vegetable, whatever. It's very healthy, and but it goes bad quickly. See, I love it in salads. Love it. Going over to the fruits here for a little bit. Strawberries in the summer are just the thing to eat. It's my dad's favorite fruit. It's one of my favorites as well, for sure. Raspberries are just so good for me right now. They're healthy, not very much sugar, so tasty. Very good. Nice and tart. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of berries that are in the raspberry, blackberry ballpark, like black raspberries and tayberries and marionberries and things. Loganberries and boysenberries and stuff. And these are all really healthy, really tasty, really good stuff. Really good things. Pomegranate in the winter is healthy and tasty. I don't find it's too much trouble. I just use it. What I do is I cut it open with a knife. I keep cutting it into sections, and I just dive into it. Just dive into it with my mouth. I just eat the little fruit things. What do you call them? Arils. The little pomegranate arils, just like that. So I do the knife route. That seems to work pretty well for me right now. I know there's technically a correct way of doing that, pomegranate stuff, but blueberries are not as, I don't like them as much as strawberries, raspberries, but they're so healthy and tasty if you are getting them in the summer, more or less. That ballpark. Spring and fall lesser than summer, but blackberries, healthy, tasty, lots of fiber. Okay, we're getting into other stuff. Watercress is hard to find unless you go to premium stores, but it's healthy. It just goes bad pretty quick, You gotta watch this. Cauliflower is fairly nutrient rich. It also has a very pleasant taste. And by the way, mushroom-wise, beech and enoki mushrooms, along with shiitake, are some of my favorites. So the Japanese East Asians seem to have the best mushrooms, in my opinion. At least those ones in particular. Cremini, chanterelle, the Europeans, like the Italians and French, have decent ones as well. I just think that the Japanese are the best regarding mushrooms. And there's other things too, like morels and things that, are still very good, but okay. Collard greens, they go bad quicker than you might think, but they're very, very healthy. Broccoli is nutrient rich. Taste is, yeah, we know it's not bad. It has a little bit of carbs that are healthy. Um, Broccoli, it goes great with other vegetables and meats and stuff. So I don't mind the taste of broccoli. With a lot of the cruciferous, the brassica vegetables, along with the chenopod vegetables, there are a lot of personal preferences, I realize, and very subtle tastes and things. If you eat these more often, you get used to the taste, they taste better. If you don't have them as often, you have never really been crazy about them, I can see why you wouldn't want them as much. Incidentally, I didn't even put lima beans in this list. It is technically a bean. Well, it's the bean to vegetable group. Lima beans I've never liked, unless you're talking about the flat beans. There's a certain type of beans I think they're great tasting that you find in Persian cuisine. But so then you have all different types of sprouts, alfalfa, clover, pea greens, beans, all that stuff. That all can go bad very quickly, but it's very healthy and it actually tastes really good. I think it's great to put on salads. Just great. But it's very perishable. Garlic, great with meat. Onions, great with meat. Kiwi fruit, for me, it's off and on thing, but I find that I keep coming back to kiwi fruit as kind of a reliable lower GI fruit. Green onions, great in eggs. Oranges are awesome still, I think. Spring onions, they're pretty good. A little bit beefier than green onions, not quite as, they're kind of in that in between ballpark between onions and green onions, that sort of thing. Shallots, give me gas. I know that they have lower sugar, but they make my stomach rumble for some reason. Leeks, they're great in soups and stews, but they're just not quite as versatile with other stuff, I guess. But that's just one of the primary soup stew type vegetables, I think. Asparagus is expensive. I put that in, in cherries and grapes. Both grapes and cherries, when they're good, they are good. Same thing with nectarines. When they're not so good, they're not so good. Right. Grapefruit, yeah, it's a old standby. Before we go to the other fruits and things, let's get to the other vegetables. So zucchini is great for my gut. It feels really good in my system. I think cucumber I should have put in here somewhere. Maybe I did somewhere. Maybe I didn't. But cucumber is in that same range with zucchini as being. I should have put it in there. But cucumber is great. Feels great. My gut. And I get more cucumber. It's off and on, but it's a great salad vegetable. Green beans. It's cheaper. Has fiber. It's reliable. So you can always find it. Swiss chard. It's colorful and healthy, but just watch how much of it, because the same thing with spinach. It's very nutrient rich, but a lot of oxalates. Right? So you don't have it every day. Green cabbage, it's less ideal for single folks or anything big like that, because you have this huge old cabbage in your fridge. It takes up a lot of room, and unless you're planning on having cabbage or having a huge stew or something like that, and stews for a while, it's less practical, I suppose, depending on what you're eating and stuff. But anyway, carrots, reliable, dirt cheap, and good tasting. Really cheap, along with onions. Romaine lettuce, green red lettuces in general. I didn't put iceberg. Why would you get iceberg? Why? Anyway, they're decent tasting, and they're great in salads. Brussels sprouts, super healthy, but the taste. So I'll eat them because they're healthy, but I don't really care for Brussels sprouts taste-wise. My least favorite mushrooms are button and pearl. They taste fine. They just don't quite have the texture and the things I like about better tasting mushrooms, by the way. So peas are healthy, fiber, very reliable. You can always find them. Lemons and limes are versatile flavor. You can squeeze that stuff in anything. Always perks up the taste of the stuff. Salads, everything. Arugula, it's very healthy, but I'm not crazy about the taste. I know some people are. Pears, they're tasty. Cranberries, very tart. Apples, they do the job, but I'm not. The apples have a lot of competition, basically. But I'll eat apples. I've eaten apples my entire life. Mustard greens, they're very, very potent. They're very, very healthy. So if you know how to prepare mustard greens, so you don't overcook them, but you get the flavor you want, I don't know. So that's kind of more, you guys know how to use them well. Kale, it's healthy, but it's very curly and twisty. So it has too much competition with collard greens that have a flatter texture, which I prefer. in that really super healthy greens ballpark with the cruciferous. There's also things like, I know, kohlrabi. There's a whole bunch of other greens I'm not including. It's just because there's too many to put in here, but you guys probably get the idea based on what I mentioned so far, what I would like. More artichoke. It's too cumbersome for me. So if you have a problem with pomegranate and things that take a while to really prepare, it's even more the case with artichoke. You have to, fresh artichoke, you have to cook it, and then you have to peel off the stuff off of the skin. Way too much work for just an artichoke. It's really healthy, of course. So you just oftentimes get in the jars, but the jars, they put the vinegar and stuff in there. The oil, it just tastes very vinegary, oily. So maybe that canned artichoke stuff you can put in salads might be a better option. Fennel, I like the seeds, fennel seeds. The vegetable itself just goes bad very fast. So that's the main drawback there. But it tastes great. It tastes like licorice, so some people probably love fennel. Yellow squash. I like the stuff, but it goes bad very fast. So by the time I get to this yellow squash, unless I get it really quick, it goes bad. And bell peppers just have too much competition. Plus, we keep hearing stuff about Solanaceae, the nightshade stuff. And of the nightshades, I probably have currently, I think paprika comes from a pepper. It's a mild pepper. It's technically a nightshade, but you don't have it as spice, and it's like, I don't have it often. I don't know. But the other nightshades, so tomato, bell pepper, eggplant, potato, I'm not having very much nightshades at all these days. Definitely not, much less potato for quite some time. I've been having very little potato. So bell peppers, really, do I really need this stuff? It's great, it's healthy, but it's just kind of like the tuna pods. Spinach and Swiss chard for a little bit different reasons. Nightshade has some issues with arthritis and things because of the toxins in the leaves and not the thing you pick itself, but the thing you pick itself might have some lingering stuff from the rest of the plant. So I don't know. Nightshades are weird that way. Bigger squashes and pumpkins, they're big and you cook the snot out of them. They taste like so it's like. But beets. I know I've had some great tasting beets from like Russian ladies and stuff that people I've known. The Russians know how to do beets. So if you're Russian, go for those beets. Go for that borscht. Go for that, beet soup and stuff. But maybe Polish German stuff too a little bit. But most people, beets, I just don't think about it. They have way too much competition unless you know how to do it. Pickled beets or whatever. Eggplants, yams, and sweet potato. But I'll still be partial to sweet potato here and there. And then, of course, I'm not eating really tropical fruits so much. I'll still have them. I still love the taste of them, but it's too sugary sometimes. Or especially in the case of mango, Oh, yeah. So I love mango. Oh, man. So any additional thoughts here? So, I've made a lot of stuff in the past about how expensive stuff is, and I'll still keep making stuff in the future. It's a deep subject. Most of these foods are pretty cheap, which is why when you eat a lot of produce, and it helps you, helps you your gut, it helps you poop, it helps you save money. You get all the things your body needs that are all the maintenance things, all the micronutrients and all the different colors and things. And vast majority of the stuff is, we're talking about basically lower sugar stuff. I imagine if you had more than one nectarine at once, well, even nectarines aren't so bad, but some people attack grapes. I think with grapes, you want to just have a handful. It's probably pretty good. There's other things that you might say, oh, it's kind of sugary, or mandarins. Mandarins, one is enough maybe, but the mandarins are one of the main culprits. I love mandarins. I know, it's so sweet. But of course, the vegetables don't have any sugar, pretty much. We're talking about very, very low sugar for the most part here. The most sugary vegetable, some of them are like onions or carrots. And they actually, onions and carrots surprisingly have more natural sugars than raspberries, but per serving. But the flavor of a raspberry is more fruit. It's a fruit, and so it's all about the nature of the flavor. But when we think of carrots and onions, they're still very low sugar. But onions are probably one of the top most sugariest vegetables, I suppose. So some of the, as I go, this is the top of the list, bottom list. This isn't super like pinpointy favorite to least favorite. There's a little bit of fluctuation that goes on. Absolutely, I'm going to change my mind about a few of these things at least, but these top vegetables tend to be really stinking healthy, and really you can find them, most of them, pretty readily, and they don't take a lot of effort to prepare, and they go well with other foods that you're getting, especially poultry, meats, fish, whatever, eggs. The mushrooms on this side, by the way, I love in like soups and stir. Well, when I say stir fry, I mean I don't really do high heat, so I don't really do stir fry. But I don't know, healthier Asian dishes, I guess you could say. So they have their uses there, and of course they have like wasabi is I have some wasabi, I just don't have it all the time. But sushi is really great in its ballpark, and sashimi and stuff. And these top fruits, the berries are the best, and then we have some vegetables over here too. All the allium family, they're great. Eventually get to the drupes, right, with the stone fruits. They're all like apricots, nectarines, and cherries, and I didn't mention plums, but plums are good if you can find a good one. Just there's a lot of mediocre plums out there unless you go to a nice store in season, especially. I've had fresh plums and they just taste amazing. Right, they're great, But but the thing about fruit is, as you know, much more so than with vegetables, you need to buy fruit more or less in season, unless you're talking about frozen berries. Which frozen berries you can get, and there's things like lingonberries. I've had them, and other like huckleberries. They taste great too. They're way up there. They're in that more the blueberry, cranberry, ericaceae taste range. So they're not sweet. They're not as sweet as the rosaceae berries, but they taste great. And they're, if you like that tart, less sweet thing, it's definitely more of a wild taste, sure. And we don't have to talk about currants and gooseberry, all that other stuff, and then elderberries, like, oh boy. Yeah, so, but they're very healthy. Just, oh man. Have you guys ever had currants or gooseberries or elderberries? Well, I mean, elderberries, you have to have the juice. That stuff is not sweet at all, but super healthy. And of course, you have goji berries, you have acai. And I've never been wild about that stuff, but I'll have it on occasion. I know it's really healthy stuff. And goji berries basically taste like a berry version of a carrot. Goji berries are in the same family as is it not? They're not nightshade, are they? Anyway, it tastes almost like tomatoes. I mean, I don't know. I think the elderberries. Anyway, so this stuff on the bottom, I'm often not as wild with the taste. It's not necessarily they're still very healthy, but it's a taste thing, and how much effort is to prepare. And like I can mention turnips, radishes, radicchio. I'll try them. It's harder to have that stuff, but I'll still eat them. I don't think there's anything I can't handle, like rutabaga. So rutabaga and turnips, radishes, and all that stuff. And there's other things I'm neglecting to mention. Turnip greens are very, very healthy, but wow, man. I mean, who eats turnip greens? So, okay. And then, of course, last thing I want to mention is just some shopping things. So I think a lot of us that are aware of our own health and things, we're probably buying some beans, to some extent or another, right? Some of us more than others. We're probably buying some nuts and seeds. Some of us are soaking those things to get more the phytic acid out of it, get more nutrients out of it. It's fine. I just too lazy, right? And I buy the healthy nuts for sure. And then some of us are, getting the eggs and the fish, the chicken. Most of us, I think, and not we're watching the red meat, at least somewhat maybe. And maybe a little bit of healthy dairy, maybe, and then some little bit of Himalayan pink salt and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and that's how a lot of us are eating, and maybe a lot of us are still having a lot of microwavable meals or full fat cheeses, which I'm sure if you're talking about European cheeses or real cheese, it's probably you could do worse, but not as healthy, and and then so on and so forth on the list of the things that we're buying. And the thing to remember, of course, the great thing is that produce tends to be cheaper. And if we make it a priority, we'll save on our grocery bill. And then whatever else we have, what the other foods we will buy, maybe we will get a wide variety of things in a produce list. Something that we can. And I've been getting better at knowing what I can handle in a week or two without anything going bad. I've been getting better over time. But we need to kind of see what we're actually eating, how much of it, And sometimes our body we want to kind of cycle through the produce. We do. My body does this too. My body says, I'm ready for this stuff. Or my body says, I've had enough of this stuff. I could wait on this stuff for a while. And we just, we want to substitute this stuff much more so than with the animal proteins and with more of a fuel foods we want to have, like avocado or olive or, nuts and that sort of thing. And then, I imagine a lot of folks are, again, I mentioned beans. Some folks are probably also relying a lot on grains for their calories, and it's fine. It's just, again, it can spike your blood sugar if, depending on your health or your whatever your situation is, genetically with some of the stuff, and then. It's just a lot of times when you buy grains, it's not whole grains. It's very refined. It's, And I have other videos about all these things, and grains are cheap. There's so many plant foods are really cheap, but we just want to be mindful of what we're actually buying and the quality it's in and how much it's straight from Mother Nature. And, cycle through that stuff. You can probably have chicken most every night. Well, not every night. What I meant to say was probably chicken, then fish, then a meatless dinner or two. Then maybe go back to the chicken. Maybe slip in some pork or beef once a week or something, something like that, right? Ideally. But there's not as many animal food options. There are, but they're expensive. And so it's great to get a lot more variety in your what I look forward to on my shopping list is often this stuff. Increasingly, it's this stuff because there's so much variety. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other things I'm not even mentioning on here that, and if you live in the tropics, the tropical fruits are going to be better, But this is the stuff to be mindful of. This is what we want to keep thinking about. The other stuff we'll buy, But this is the stuff that keeps us going in keeping away cancer, keeping away diseases and stuff. All right, talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.